What's up, everybody? I'm TJ.
And I'm Kelsey, and we are
the Nashville Wine Duo. We are here in this awesome studio that we have nothing to do with. And it's pretty cool. I just showed up and a mic got shoved into my face.
You were excited.
So,
the excitement's all over your face.
Yeah.
So who are we here with?
So we are here with the man, Mr. Zach Farnum of 117 Entertainment. You got in my head a little bit. You got in my head. See, I was good, and then I was like, questioning myself.
Yes.
So yeah,
Well, thanks for having me on the podcast.
It's such an honor to have you, man. Thanks for agreeing.
And inviting us into
Absolutely.
your space.
Yes.
So
Drinking wine and talking, that's two of my specialties.
all right.
And you're kicking off the Jungle Room studio. It's our first ever podcast episode.
The Jungle Room has a vibe for
It definitely
sure.
like Jungle Room is definitely.
And
the right name for it.
I am digging this vibe in here.
Who doesn't love plants and green and black and tiger carpets?
Tiger carpets.
I know. I wish you could see the tiger carpet on camera. We haven't figured that out yet. We
I actually
might need
really
to
like
put
the
a camera like up top, but
Yeah.
Well,
thanks.
tell us why you made the Jungle Room. What's it?
So I run a PR artist management company in town. We're in Nashville, and I wanted a space. We had this downstairs space in our office that we weren't really using. Interns were in here, or we were throwing stuff in here, and I was like, how can we turn this into something productive for our clients? And coming out of the pandemic, everybody's still Zooming and using like their phones to do radio liners. And I was like, why don't we put in some kind of audio studio? You know, I don't want to do any full-blown music recordings or anything, but a place where our clients can come and just cut liners, do interviews, whatever. And through the process of thinking that through and seeing how expensive equipment is, I was like, well, how can we monetize this? And how can we provide a space for podcasters and people that want to create content, but there's not many content studios to do that in Nashville, and give it a cool vibe. So the Jungle Room was born, and I was also really into I've always been a big Elvis fan, Graceland, Memphis, the whole thing. And I thought, we could make, I don't remember the exact inspiration behind choosing this vibe, but that was the thought process.
I was wondering if he was going to say Elvis, because I could definitely sense some kind of Elvis.
I wanted to put green shag carpet on the ceiling, but the girls that work with me would not allow that.
No, they were like,
That's
no,
great.
they're not doing that.
Yeah.
Well,
Someday.
why don't you? When we usually talk to people on the podcast, we want to hear about their background and how you get into what you're doing, and so just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the industry that you're in, the music industry. Yeah.
So I moved to Nashville 10 and a half years ago, and from Rhode Island, small
Rhode
small state.
Island?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever met anyone personally
everybody
from
says
Rhode
that.
Island.
I
Now
have.
you
Yeah.
have. Now you have. There's actually more people in Rhode Island than Montana. Have you ever met anybody from Montana?
One.
One. Yeah.
That's rarer. More rarer.
More rare.
Yeah, so I moved here for school to study music business in Trevecca University here in town, and just jumped right into the music industry, like pretty much as soon as I moved here, and got to know people and just tried to find my path, and wanted originally to be in artist management. Found out you kind of have to go in a certain way to get to artist management, and I guess I was pretty decent at writing and communicating, so became a publicist pretty much right away and fell into that world. I actually went into the journalism side from the get-go. I started a blog, got invited to events and met other publicists and artists, and kind of built my way from there.
Okay. So how long did you do the publicity thing before you kind of made the switch?
So I worked at a couple different PR firms, and not such great experiences at said PR firms, and kind of got burnt out. And I thought, about switching careers, and do I even want to be in the music industry? And just kind of started helping. I finally left the last firm and I started helping some friends with like freelance PR work just to get by. And then I started 117, sort of had a client that wanted some freelance work done, and I didn't want to pitch from a Gmail address, so I started a website and called my friend and said, can you just put up a splash page? I don't even think it's going to turn into anything, but I just need like something to go with. And so announced, I started May of 2017 with Chuck Negron from Three Dog Night as my first client, who's been an amazing friend ever since. And him and his wife have just, I started this all thanks to them. And so I started it just as a PR company. And then 4 or 5 months into it, I had been representing Bobby Bear. And knowing that I wanted to get into management, I sat him down and I said, I know you're 82 years old and there's no reason you need a manager, but I'd like to manage you. And he said, well, I guess we can give it a try. and 117 Management was born. And I wanted to manage him for at least a year by himself before I added any more management clients. And I think we had some success. I think in the first year we got him re-inducted into the Grand Ole Opry by Garth.
That's awesome.
And had some good touring wins, and a year later I said, try this again. And so it just kind of grew from there. But we're still, I'd say we're about 65% management and 40%, 65% PR, 40% management.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who do you all manage with 117?
We manage a few amazing developmental acts. Scooter Brown Band was the second act I started managing, and I guess I've represented them for almost 6 years on the PR side, and then 4.5, 5 on the management side. They're big in Texas, and Scooter started a side project called War Hippies, which is blowing up right now, and yeah, they're getting really great, and they're getting great opportunities, and the music's amazing. So the primary focus is on that right now, but we still do things with War Hippies. Scooter Brown Band, they still play shows. So Scooter Brown Band, amazing artist named Carissa Ella, who I think is going to headline stadiums someday soon. She's putting out some of her best music ever starting in March, and I think by the summer she's going to be a household name.
Oh, so, wow.
I'm pumped. She is 4 year, 3.5-4 year veteran of 117, so it's been a journey. But she's really found her voice, and she's a great writer, amazing vocalist. She is just so kind and like grateful for every opportunity she gets, and not every artist is like that. And so it's refreshing to be around that, and energizing to everybody on the team, because they know a win is going to be a true win for her. And some artists, you work your ass off and that you get something great and they just don't care. They just don't acknowledge, and that's defeating. So Carissa, Bobby Bear, although he's pretty much retired, he's about to be 88 years old. Damn. One of the last of the living legends. Yeah. Has been an incredible mentor to me, like a grandfather. Him and his wife are just amazing, and their whole family. And then about 2.5 years ago, I started working with, has it been 2.5 years? 2.5, 3 years ago. Started working with David Nail. And then about a year and a half ago, started managing David Nail. So David Nail's our biggest management client. So David's at the top of his game, recording and touring. And I think I want to say we did 60 shows last year, and I think we're going to do like 75 to 80 this year. So very busy, 3 kids at home, but awesome team. Some of his most creative and just most authentic music coming out this year. So that's been a fun journey to walk alongside him. And, he's had so many great hits that I don't want to say grew up on because they were when I was in high school and college, starting off, but just like people my age are fired up about David Nail. So that's been fun. So yeah, we have a great management roster, and it keeps us busy, and we're always talking about adding new acts, but we're kind of comfy where we're at now, and we've really been focusing on the PR side, and whereas had you asked me a year ago, I probably would have said, well, we're going to try to even it out to be 50-50. I think we're leaning into the PR side now. We've got a amazing director of publicity we just added, and we've, in the last 6 months, signed Icon Entertainment Group, Bill Miller's incredible properties downtown, Johnny Cash Museum, House of Cards, Skull's
cool.
Rainbow Room.
Yeah.
So that's been an amazing journey to go on. And then in November, late October, November, we signed Dee Messina.
Hey,
Yeah.
Incredible signing.
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
I love Dee Messina.
loves
Talk about somebody
Jody.
that I grew up listening to.
Yes. She's amazing. She is just a bright, shining star in everybody's life.
I was gonna ask you, is she as cool in real life as she seems?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love hearing that.
She's just constantly laughing and smiling
I
and having
love
fun.
that.
And she's been great to work with.
What's your favorite Dee Messina song, baby?
Heads Carolina, Tails California.
Oh,
Classic.
Yeah. Man, there's just so many. I don't know. I love all of them.
Dee Messina, we're announcing this coming Thursday, so it'll be announced by the time this comes out, is going on her first time, believe it or not, she's ever toured under this moniker. She's going on the Heads Carolina, Tails
Are you
California
kidding?
tour this year.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And
I'm going.
She's gonna hit over 50 cities between this coming weekend and the end of November, and it's starting in Carolina.
What?
And it's ending in California.
really?
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so
we're announcing
exciting.
that Thursday. She's got a best of album coming out for her first time on vinyl ever in 26 years or whatever
Wow.
it's been. Coming in March 10th. So yeah, she's busy and she's working on new music, and it's exciting.
Honestly, her songs are so feel good too. They just make you feel good, inside, in your soul.
Bye, I'm all right.
Yes.
Burn.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's just this. I don't know. There's just something about her songs just get
Yeah.
me. So, what were you gonna say though?
It's about the vinyl. So she has never released anything on
never
vinyl.
been on vinyl.
Wow.
A lot of those 90s acts, vinyl was going away, especially
Oh,
in the
yeah.
later 90s. They were focused on tapes and
Yeah.
CDs, and
Now it's all coming back.
now
around.
vinyl's coming back. So it's, a lot of them are getting their first chance.
I was just gonna ask you what you felt like you personally what's the most challenging part of your job for what you do?
Managing personalities and expectations, and just kind of, I work with a lot of personalities, both on the artist side, their teams, my team, the media teams. I mean, there's so many people, and so relationships are everything, and trying to, balance the being an advocate for your artist, but also being a really good and polite and nice partner for your media partners, and,
Yeah.
and that's a tough balance, and sometimes you gotta sacrifice the being a good partner to advocate for a client. It's just hard. It's hard because I want everybody to like me. I like having fun. I like enjoying what we're doing. I'm a very kind of happy-go-lucky person. And the reality is not everybody's going to like you all the time, and that's really hard to accept, especially in this role. So,
Yeah, because sometimes you have to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because your artist can't be the bad guy,
Right.
no matter what.
Yeah.
You know? And so sometimes you have to absorb that for them, and it is what it is.
I feel like if you are working in the music industry, you have to have like thick skin. Like
Oh, for
little things that
sure.
would normally, like in any other kind of business, you'd be like, oh, but in this kind of business, I feel like you'd have to just be like, okay, here's another thing, brush it off and move on, kind of a
You
vibe.
roll with the punches.
Yeah.
People on my team sometimes will say, like, can't believe that person just said that to you. How are you not affected by that? And I'm like, you can't get affected by that. If I got affected by every little thing, I wouldn't still be in this town.
Right.
I would have gone home. You know?
Back to Rhode Island.
Back to Rhode Island. No, I'm not
Back to
going
Rhode
back
Island.
there.
When I hear Rhode Island, I just think of Miss Congeniality, which neither of you, I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
I've seen it because of you.
Sandra Bullock.
Yes, Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, and they have
Was
the
that
girl.
in Rhode Island?
Well, the girl that was from Rhode Island, she was like the really ditzy one.
Oh.
She was like one of the main people.
Okay.
And they asked her like what her favorite, like her ideal date would be, and she was like, I really like February like 20, and it was like they were talking about like going on a date with a guy, but she like set a date in like on the calendar. It was just, she was sweet. Rhode
That's
Island.
funny.
Yes. Anyway,
I'm sorry that's your thought process of Rhode Island.
well, she was sweet. I liked her. I mean, so let's dive into this wine that you picked out, and you can talk to us about it and why you chose this. And obviously, you love good wine because this is a great choice.
Thank you. I had, to be honest, never tried this specific one, but I am partial to. We kind of talked about this before. Old world wines. My stomach can't do American wines. I don't know what if it's the tannins or sulfites or whatever. But I'm not the only person. I know a lot of people who their stomach can't handle American wine. But I can go over to Europe and I can drink wine all day.
Interesting.
So the philosophy, I just like the philosophy of old world wine so much better, that it's about the taste and the pairing with food, and it's not about partying and getting drunk like American wine is. You know, the alcohol content's usually a little less, and it's just a whole different process of making. And it's all about like the culture of wine, you know, and I love that. So I did my first big Europe trip last January, and I went to Bordeaux as my first stop, really.
Oh, wow.
And spent a few days there. And I was never really, I mean, I liked wine, but I was not a big wine guy before that. But being in Bordeaux, you obviously are just thrown into old world wine culture, like the oldest it gets, pretty much. And dove into all the culture there, but went into the Saint-Émilion region, and you know, it's one of the most ancient cities still existing today. It's from like the 8th century or something.
Right.
Yeah, so it was really cool to like learn about that region specifically, and how like anywhere from 6 to 15% of all the world's wines come from Bordeaux. So it's one of the biggest, most important wine regions in the world. And Saint-Émilion is on the right bank of the river, and Medoc is on the left bank. And Saint-Émilion is known for its red varietals, and most of their chateaus they make red blends. So we got to tour a few chateaus and go through, and then they have some really amazing, you would call them wine bars here. I don't know what they call them there, but they have one in the center of town in Bordeaux, and you can taste everything. It's like $2-3 like pours, so you can just go. They have everything you can think of there.
Oh, wow.
So I was just trying stuff left and right. It was
Yeah.
great. They do have some whites there, but so this specific one, I wrote down some notes. I'm not great. I'm learning French on my little Duolingo app, but I'm not a great French speaker yet.
Neither
I'm
are
really,
we, so you're in good company.
Really good at the app, but not good at speaking. So this is Tétois de Moulin.
Oh, I think you sound great.
Tétois de Moulin.
Yeah.
Moulin. And it is like I said, a red blend. It's mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and Petit Verdot grapes. Also, if you don't know, European wines, they don't classify their. You guys know this, but I'm just telling.
No, say it anyway. It's good.
Yeah.
They don't classify their wines by their grapes like we do here, for the most part. Cabernet, Merlot, etc. They classify them by the vineyards. Or the chateaus. And so this one, I don't have much detail on this specific chateau, but I think there's a Tétois in the Medoc. There's a Chateau Tétois in the Medoc region of Bordeaux, and then this is like their Saint Emilion varietal or wine. This is a 2019 oaky, leathery. A little bit of a berry flavor.
It's delicious.
It is delicious. So we're familiar with this wine, and you can get it at Trader Joe's. You know, for the people that have been listening to the podcast, you know that TJ and I started out at Trader Joe's, and I think this wine usually goes for, it's like, what, 20, 28?
I think it's 16 to 25, something like that.
Really?
I don't know. It's been a while since I bought it.
There's a couple of them that are around that, you know what I mean? There's a few that are around that area between like 18 and 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somewhere around
definitely in that range.
So...
And I wanted to pick one that is accessible for people.
Yeah, exactly. And you can go to Trader Joe's and get this. And we'll definitely get a picture and we'll post it. But
even though TJ got some red wine on the label.
Yeah.
It makes it look even cooler, though. That's why I do that.
Cool vibe.
Little droplets or driplets, depending on which side of the country you're on. But I like the droplets on the label.
I love what you said when you were talking about this wine and then like how you came to love wines. And I think this is what we love about wine so much is that there's just such a history to it. Yeah. And that the more you learn about the history and like even you being there and seeing these things and being like, this is where it's grown and this is the oldest city, and then trying the wine, it makes it even more special. You know, it's just something that's transcended time. And, you know, that especially the chateaus and stuff that exist in France have been around generations, hundreds.
I went to Paso Robles with my family in October, and they've got cool, like you've got Josh and, you know, all the vineyards there, but they just don't have the history like they do in Europe. I mean, you're seeing chateaus from like 300 years ago, you know, where they've been farming grapes and perfecting here's a word I'm sure you guys know, but not everybody, I didn't know it, terroir.
Yeah, terroir.
Terroir.
Yep. Terroir.
Terroir.
Yep.
Well, in France, they said terroir.
They say terroir. Oh, really?
But French, they have all different accents in French.
Oh, interesting.
France.
Maybe it might have been in that region where they say it like that.
It's
That's
like
a possibility.
America. I mean,
totally,
you know,
that makes sense.
We say stuff different everywhere we
Yeah.
go. But yeah, I've heard it said a couple different ways, but it's a very interesting concept, the whole thing. And I threw that word around a little bit in California, and some people didn't know what they.
Well, maybe because of the pronunciation.
Maybe
that could be it too. But yeah.
But yeah,
so.
I mean, to the thing we love about Old World wine is they're not manipulating things. You know, like you said, it's centuries old. These vineyards and these chateaus and stuff.
And I would still say there are places in America that are not manipulating things either.
Well, I think as the wine community here in the States kind of gets more popular and more people are turned. I mean, you've got even like younger winemakers and people that have owned vineyards like starting to do some really cool stuff
Very
here.
cool things.
But this kind of vibe is definitely Old World.
Yeah.
You know, talking about organic, they look at you like we've been doing basically organic for 400 years.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we do. Like, we don't spray stuff. We don't, you know what I mean? That's why your stomach kind of gravitates towards these wines.
I've even heard people say that about even like bread and pasta when you go over there too. They're like, I can't eat bread here, but I can eat it over there. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like talking about what Zach's
additives.
saying with the terroir, that's basically describing like where the grapes are growing, where they're gonna flourish the best. So like this specific, like maybe a Merlot that's in, this region of Bordeaux is going to grow perfectly in this climate with the temperatures, with the soil. So then they don't need to do anything to manipulate the wine because this is where it grows the best. It's just like a tomato. Like a tomato grows really, really well in this place. So guess what? Like we only have this tomato when it's perfect, when it's right, and we don't try to grow it anywhere else because it grows best in this place. So we don't have to do stuff to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, learning about that, and
very cool.
Yeah, very cool. And I love that you picked this wine out and that you're like, yeah, I enjoy, like, that's how I started liking wine in the first place. So,
and then the ranking system in Saint Emilion is really interesting as well. If you notice on the bottom, it's a Grand Cru.
Yep.
And then so they 3 levels generally of those, and it's the top level is a Grand Cru Class A, and then the second level is a Premier Grand Cru Class A, and then this one, third level, is a Grand Cru. And so it's still a really great wine.
Right.
It's just not the top. And those rankings change, I think every 10 years they do a new ranking.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is, they don't just, they factor in flavor and everything, but they also factor in marketing and like how popular the chateau is on the market. So it's an interesting. So it doesn't really mean it's a better wine,
right?
Quality wise, but just that it's a more prestigious. There's a bunch of things boxes they need to check too.
Have you gotten to go to Italy?
I have, but I haven't really done the wine regions.
Okay.
I spent on that trip. I rounded it out. I hit Bordeaux, Paris, Munich and Bavaria, Germany, and then I rounded it out in Rome. Spent about a week in Rome and loved it. But and for me, Rome was more about the food.
Right.
But I did try to dive into as much of the wine as I could, but I didn't really. I'd love to go up and do Tuscany. And
I know. That's actually where I've been told. Talked to him about this because we want to go for his special birthday that's going to be coming up in a few years.
Special birthday?
He doesn't like to say the number.
25.
Every birthday special to me.
We want to go to Italy, and I've talked to people that have been there, and they say, like, you want to go up in that Tuscany, but you go up a little higher than that, start out, and then you can get the whites that they have represented. Because they're like, if you really want to understand all Italy has to offer, you want to try the whites and then move down into Tuscany and try the reds. Because I'd like to know, like, how the whites are, too.
Yeah.
So
That's cool. I'm very base level on all wine, but especially Italian wine. So I know, like, I'll get a Chianti once in a while, and like, there is one I don't know how to pronounce it, and I can't even remember the exact. I need to dive more into it because every time I have this wine, I'm like, what is this?
Is it Sangiovese?
No, try again.
It's Italian?
Italian.
Yeah,
Barolo?
Barolo.
Brunello?
Montepulciano.
Montepulciano.
Yeah.
I think it's that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
there was
Yes.
one I had actually at House of Cards. House of Cards, not a plug for my client here. House of Cards has an amazing wine selection. They have a great steak selection too. They have an ostrich steak. This is really good.
What the heck is that? It's actually ostrich?
Actually, ostrich. There's an ostrich farm in Tennessee. And
What?
They, yeah.
Who knew?
But they have a great wine selection, and it rotates. And so, of course, the one I liked is gone now. But I think it was a Montepulciano.
Okay.
I think it was a $180 bottle, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You can find some really good Montepulciano.
Yeah. I can't remember. Or Del. Is there another one that's like Del? I don't know, but
Well, Italian wine, a lot of them sometimes can even be it's like, what's on the bottle will be like the region, like where it's from, or like it's not always like the grape. So like it can be, you might have seen something, you know what I mean?
Well, the grapes are called different things too. Like a Primitivo is like a Zinfandel. But they call it Primitivo in Italy. So it really just depends.
Have you guys been to Europe?
No, and that's why, that's like our big plan.
Let's go.
I want to go.
I'll pack my bags now.
Load up the private jet.
Well, I did want to, amazing wine. Thank you for having us try this and talking about it.
Yeah.
I love it. I did want you to just talk briefly too about when we were off camera, we talked about this building that you're in, and I wanted you to talk about the location you're in and like what you love about this building. Because you said when we first walked in, you were like, I love this building. So,
I've been here 2 years.
Yeah.
It's the Taylor Arts Market. It's over here on Taylor Street in Germantown, in Nashville, and it's just an amazing collection of artists from all shapes and sizes. You've got painters and framers and potters and this store across from us, it's called PSV, and it's Peers Supporting Victories, I think, and it's mostly black-owned businesses that rotate in and out. And like today, they had a Valentine's Day bake sale, local baker. So like it's really great to support local businesses, small businesses. And that's what everybody in this building is, a small business. Everybody. There's a couple nonprofits. There's a tattoo parlor. Bearded Iris Brewery is attached. We have a new sandwich shop I was telling you about. We even have a barber shop. Like, everything's in this building. So highly recommend people come on by. We don't have a storefront, but a lot of people here do. And they're always selling something cool. So.
And you said they do a market once a month?
Yeah, the third Saturday of every month, they do the Taylor Street Arts Market.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're down here on Taylor Street and 2nd Ave, right around the corner from the Optimist and Oku Sushi.
Oh, is that where you're going to have sushi after?
I was supposed to, but they're closed on Mondays now.
Oh,
very sad about it.
A lot of places are closed
and
on Mondays.
We were going to go to Virago, and now she texted me, and it sounds like we're going to Superica.
Where's
so
that?
now I don't even get sushi.
I've been to Virago, but I haven't been to that one.
Tex-Mex in the Gulch. It's really good, but I'm kind of in a sushi mood.
You're in a sushi mood.
It's fine.
He was really looking forward to it. Now I want sushi. We need to pick it up on the way home.
What's your favorite sushi place?
Oh, man. We just get this place. So we live in Franklin. So there's this place called Miso Japanese.
Okay.
And there's also Sakura, which is like, it's next to a pawn shop. And it looks, like people are like, it does. I mean, there's like this also like luchador restaurant there where there's like a scary wrestler face on the outside. And then there's a nail salon, and,
those are the best places.
It actually is, like, literally one of the best places. And you'll go in there, and these people have straight-up ships, like, actual ships of sushi. Yeah, like old-school boats,
amazing.
like, on their tables, and they're, like, eating sushi off of a boat.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I know, and we usually get it to go, but I think we're going to need to get Sakura tonight. And now I feel bad, because I'm like, we're getting sushi, and you're not.
I might be able to talk my friend into it. We'll see.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
This has been awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Fun.
Thanks for letting us.
I want to play you a little more so we can cheers.
Learn more about what you do and the music business, which is always fascinating.
I appreciate your interest in it. It is fun and rewarding and challenging, and what I think music is such an interesting, amazing thing, and what it can do for people is so incredible. So
music is meant to bring people together. I mean, I think it's
just like wine. We've said this.
Music and wine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we love meeting people in the music industry that enjoy wine.
Well, we'll have to host some kind of wine and music night here.
Oh, we'd love it
with you guys.
We'd love
it.
That would be sweet.
Yes,
fun.
We could curate the wine list.
Yeah.
I'll curate the music list.
Yeah. Well, cheers.
Cheers to Zach. 117 Entertainment Group.
I said it right.
Yes.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.